Great. Welcome to Higher Africa Podcast.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
No,
Happy to be here.
Yep, I'm excited for you to be here.
Yeah.
I've wanted you to be a guest on this show ever since I was starting.
Okay.
In fact, we've spoken about this. There was a time I did. There was a time I told you that we may need to have like a chat to discuss this thing.
Yeah, and my apologies for being so elusive.
No. You are in West Africa because senior citizens. So you have to send an email, make sure everything is in order,
get the schedules aligned,
aligned, and whatever. And understand. Yeah. That's why I was even polite. So, okay, fine, no worries. I'll send an email in advance.
Well, here we are. Right?
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming. So, okay, let me do a bit of an intro. So today we're talking about building Africa's backbone, which is connecting infrastructure, policy, talent, with Brian Longwe. So welcome to Higher Africa Podcast. Today we're honored to have Brian Munyao Longwe, a renowned African ICT strategist and a serial tech entrepreneur whose career spans over 2 decades. It's over 2 decades, right?
It's actually 3. 32 years in tech. Oh my God.
Over 3 decades. Wow, that's amazing. So he's co-founded ISP Kenya in the late 90s. And, when I was checking your history, I realized that you started working when I was not born.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God.
Stop making me feel old. Come on, man.
These are facts. Okay, so you co-founded ISP Kenya in the late 1990s and led pivot internet infrastructure projects across East and Southern Africa. Currently, he's the CEO and co-founder of Converged Technology Networks, which is bridging high-quality broadband access to underserved regions in Malawi. Brian has been a strong voice towards AfriNIC and AfrISPA, was inducted into the Kenyan ICT Hall of Fame in 2007, and now leads the Internet Society of Malawi chapter. Brian, man, this is...
It's a lot, eh?
It's a lot. What happened? So how do you get inducted in the Internet Hall of Fame?
Well, it was it had a lot to do with some of the early efforts that I made when I was back living in Kenya, in terms of just contributing towards the growth and development of Kenya's ICT sector. There were 2 main things that stood out. One was establishment of the Kenya Internet Exchange Point, which I pioneered and rallied ISPs together to build. The other one was a key role that I played working alongside others, including the government, to establish something called KENIC, the Kenya Network Information Center. It's basically the registry that manages the .ke domain name. It was a long process. It was a lengthy, convoluted, difficult process. We worked alongside, advised government, went with them for international meetings, worked hard on technical preparations, worked hard on skills, preparing the human resource, designing the structures, setting up the financial models, and eventually successfully launching it. So the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Information at the time, Dr. Bitange Ndemo, decided to have a ICT awards thing, and all of a sudden I hear my name being called, and I'm like,
No. Wow. Yeah. ICT Hall of Fame. Right. In 2007. And that time I was what? That time I was maybe in Form 3 in my secondary school years. Wow.
But making me feel...
no. I want to explain so that people understand how a big deal you are, despite that you're humble about it. And I've been in sessions where you are presenting, and every time you stand up and you are sharing your thoughts, I always see that this person understands this sector in and out. And people that are here, they might just be thinking about it, but he has been there. He has understood the process of building the internet infrastructure in Africa, and he understands these kind of repercussions if you don't think critically about these things.
Well, we learned the hard way, right?
The hard way. But if you were a part of people that even established the Kenya, like the .ke, which is essentially if someone was, maybe in Malawi, was part of the team that established the .mw kind of situation, that's that's some legendary work. It's like setting up the basis of a country, right?
Yeah.
For South Africa to ZA, right?
Yeah. Digital public infrastructure,
The digital public
resources. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Wow, amazing. And now you lead the Internet Society Malawi chapter.
Well, yeah, it's a new undertaking. It's just newly formed, still a baby, very much of a baby. I was chosen by the local Internet Society members to represent as president.
Okay.
Just to get things started. And really all I want to do is just get things going and then hand over to you guys with a lots more energy and talent to drive things going forward. But obviously the Internet Society, the vision is about internet for all. The internet is about internet as a equalizer, something that brings communities and individuals together. So we really, as a Malawi chapter, will be putting a lot of effort into figuring out ways to get more Malawians, especially our underserved brothers and sisters in the rural areas, in some of the less fortunate parts of society, to get them to be able to enjoy the same benefits that the internet is bringing to many of us in our everyday lives. Yeah.
And people don't understand how powerful internet is, and how it can help a person move from not knowing to knowing, one.
Absolutely.
But also moving from not earning to start earning. Right. And the other benefits that are provided in that space. And it's always unfortunate when we are talking about numbers in Malawi and we're still talking, is it 34? I don't know. What's the latest? You would know these numbers. I know it's 5.8 million people now accessing internet in Malawi.
Well, the figures change. It's very fluid depending on what lens you're looking through, right? But I think the most recent figures that I saw recently from Macra said something like 34%. 34% digital internet penetration, which is unfortunate.
Unfortunate
in a country of more than 20 million.
No, it's not okay.
It's not okay. If you take another lens. And you use maybe the lens of fixed internet access, fixed broadband, which means at your house or at your office, you have a fixed internet connection, which means that you can actually get high speeds and always on connectivity. The picture is even worse.
Yeah.
We're talking about below 2%.
Below 2%?
Yes.
Because it's true.
Below 2%.
It's true that most people that have connection is based maybe off just a phone and access, which is on and off kind of situation. And if you're looking at those kind of points, yes, there would be many. But if you look at people that have like a reliable connection, and yes, like that kind of point, a connection would be less because very few would even manage to.
Yeah, a lot of work. There's a lot of work still to be done.
Yeah. Anyway, let's take it back a bit. Okay. You're a legend, as far as I'm concerned. You're a legend of the game, both in Kenya and now in Malawi, because you've done a lot in Malawi. We're gonna go there. But when I was researching about your story, so I stumbled into a podcast that you did last year, and then there was a mention of you selling grapes and the t-shirts or something in Nairobi, Kenya. Tell me about what was happening that time. For people that wouldn't know that kind of stories, just do it a bit, like go for it, and how you transition from doing those manual kind of work to now going and doing the internet space and doing all the installations that you started with, and then getting into the space and starting startups.
Yeah. Origin stories are always something, right? And sometimes the origin stories are not as glamorous or as fancy as all that. And mine definitely is not. It was very messy. I think maybe before I go into that, I'll say a little bit about myself in terms of just my background, right? So my dad is Malawian. Right? Yeah.
That's where the Longwe comes from, right?
That's where the Longwe comes from.
I've always wondered.
From Adamson, Rodney, Kamoza, Longwe, right? Home is up north, Nkata Bay, Suzu. But he left Malawi long ago. He left Malawi. He was working in Zambia. He got an opportunity to go and study in the US. got another opportunity to even graduate with an MBA from Harvard.
What?
Back in the 60s.
Oh.
And started working for an American company that had interests in Africa, Unilever, which has had and still has manufacturing interests in and FMCG interests in Africa. And so his first assignment when he started working for them was back in Kenya. So he goes for a 3-month assignment to Kenya. I don't know what happened when he got to Kenya, right? What he saw. Because apparently he went back to the US, quit his job, and then relocated to Kenya.
Yes.
And set up his own business. Now, around the same time is about when also him and my mom hooked up. My mom is Kenyan, right? And back then she was a hot thing. So it looks like he might have seen this.
Maybe it was
hot young,
it might be a love story.
Beautiful looking. It might be a love story.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah,
right? I don't know.
Love drew him to Africa.
He always was hedgy around the details. But the bottom line is that he moved to Kenya towards the late 60s and set up his financial consultancy and, essentially relocated and started operating from there.
Okay.
And then we started appearing. I'm the firstborn.
Okay.
Now, I'll now jump forward to this period that you're referring to. And I'll connect it with something that I've observed. I relocated to Malawi about 10 years ago, actually, almost exactly 10 years ago, 2015.
2015?
Yes. I relocated to Malawi. And so I've been here for the last 10 years.
Okay.
And having not grown up here, I've had an opportunity to be able to really see things up close and personal and appreciate a lot of the differences culturally between Malawi and Kenya, where I grew up, but also culturally with other African countries, because I've worked in about 21 different African countries over the duration of my career.
Wow.
And each African country has its own unique personality. Its own unique culture, its own unique, and I think that's what makes Africa so beautiful, so incredible. And one thing I've seen and learned and understood in Malawi and about Malawians is the emphasis that Malawians place on education, which is great, especially qualifications. Let me not say education. Let me say qualifications.
No. Malawi is about qualifications.
It's about qualifications.
Education is a different
discussion. Education and qualification. But it's qualifications, right? A degree
first.
And then a master's.
A PhD. Yes.
Multiple if
possible.
And my dad had that in him. Now, I recall we had a hard time growing up. Things were not easy. Financially, it was really a rough road with a lot of ups and downs. I say that, I put it that we barely, my younger brother and I, we just happened to be in the same class throughout school. Standard 1, 2, 3, secondary, everything. Same class. We finished high school by the skin of our teeth. Like we almost didn't finish our secondary school due to lack of funds. We ended up being taken from this school to that school to this school to that school until eventually we ended up in a village school somewhere in central Kenya, and we finished just by the skin of our teeth with not very good grades, nothing to write back home about, and definitely not meeting the level for university. So I had a big fight with my dad just after school because he insisted that he wants us to get to university. He was telling us, go apply to universities in the UK, apply to universities in the USA, and we will get you there. And I was telling him, Dad, do you realize that even for us to finish high school in a village school, which costs 20 kwacha, you struggled. You really struggled. Even in that village school, we were sent home because of you not being able to pay that 20 kwacha on time, right? Now, how do you think that you will be able to take care of us going to a UK university or to a US university? So we had a big fallout. And I, being strong, opinionated and whatever, I said, look, do this. I still have 2 younger siblings who have not finished school. Take care of them. Please help them finish. Let me hustle. Let me try and figure my way I'll go to the streets and I'll see what to do. And that's what led to me ending up going and starting some small business, buying kaunjika, secondhand clothes, choosing them carefully, picking the best, cleaning them, washing them, ironing them, and then going to sell shirts and ties, men's clothes. I was primarily targeting working men. So I'd go to their offices and say, hey, I have something for you. Then I'll show them a branded, Gucci or Boss or whatever, nice looking shirt and make money doing that and eventually selling grapes. And through that, eventually stumbling into IT. Yeah.
And no, that's an interesting story. I think a few things that I'm picking there is your dad being Malawian, obsessed with qualifications.
And you're telling me if you don't have a degree, you'll never amount to anything.
Never make it.
You'll never make it.
Because that's the story that we have in Malawi.
I was like, that's your story. That doesn't have to be my story.
My story,
right?
Yes.
And I said, look, I'll try and see what I can do. And eventually, hopefully someday I'll be able to get a degree and make you proud of me.
Wow. That's an interesting one. Yeah, but the realities of, there's something that I've picked there, which is also an interesting one, is people don't understand that for people not to be educated in Africa is less to do with their lack of interest with the education, but more to do with the poverty that engulfs them to a point that they don't see school as a way that they would go through because they're dealing with something bigger, which is survival.
That's true. That's true.
These are realities on the ground, right?
Yeah,
when people are talking about quality of education, people are accessing good education and going outside the country. I'm saying, okay, fine. These countries are going above and beyond with education. They don't see that for some people in the rural communities, they are battling between survival and school.
Yeah.
And obviously, you have to save yourself to be alive.
Yeah, is it Maslow's hierarchy?
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
Right?
If I don't have food on my table, if I don't know where my next meal is coming from, how do you expect me to think about an that
equation.
Qualification or the need for a credential that might help me in the future?
Yes, you were talking about the future, which if I don't eat,
which I might not be there because I'm dead because of starvation.
True, and these are realities, and I'm fascinated because that time is around the 90s, right? And before even around 80s.
This is 91. 91, yeah, that we had this falling out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So I took to the streets.
Yeah.
And in that process, found my way, stumbled literally into IT.
That story of how you got to meet the lady that you were... So you knocked into her house
to sell grapes
to her.
Yes.
And then she's like, I know you. Family, friends or something.
Yes.
You're a good storyteller.
Yeah.
I've researched you. And then she said, okay, fine. Can you write your stories? Do you know how to use a laptop, like a computer?
Right,
and that's how you got from grapes to a computer.
That easy.
Well, that story is amazing.
And personal goodwill and the good heart of somebody who just saw a young, desperate kid that had potential.
Yeah.
And decided to give him a chance.
Yeah.
I thank God for that lady.
Yeah.
Every day.
Is she still around?
No, she passed on. But I'm still in touch with her. With her children, the family, we're good friends.
No, that's a good story.
Lillian, Denge, Amimo. Yeah.
It's an amazing story. I'll tell you. The things we do for people at a time when they didn't look like they deserve, and then it changes their life. And becomes a story of success later on. Like it's an amazing story. I have those kind of stories, personal as well.
Yes.
I wanted to make sure that I listed that one is singled out as something.
Yeah.
Anyway, you move from there. Yeah. Now we're looking into you learning how to type. And I think in the story, I hear. Do you have a book, by the way?
I have a lot of books in my heart and in my head. In fact, I have an app. An app on my iPad and my phone.
Yeah.
It's called Ulysses. It's a writing app designed specifically for writers.
Yeah.
And it has a section in it which allows a writer to sort of quickly capture their book ideas and things like that. And I have this section which is just all of these books.
Yeah.
And I have outlines, and I have titles, and I have sometimes, for some of them, because it's a fictional story, protagonist, antagonist, and, you know, some of the hook. So yeah, one day it's called Book Ideas, and there's like about 9 books in there, you know. One of them is titled Confessions of an African Techpreneur. You know, but there are many others. So I will write.
You have to. Yeah. And there's no, we don't have to feel sorry for you. Whether it's going to derail you and cause a bit of challenge in your business, but you have to write your story. I think your story is an amazing one, because the way you switched and how you met this lady, and then you started, you now got to meet, like, to be in front of a computer and then start writing, learning, and then how you got there to start now working for different organizations. Just take me through that story until you got into the business of selling services and teaching people.
Yeah. So when this lady noticed that I really had a aptitude for tech, I learned how to touch type so fast. And I was bugging her. I was badgering her constantly to bring me books about computers.
Yeah.
Bring me all the manuals for this computer. Bring me all the manuals for the software that this thing has. And I'll read them. She realized this guy has an insatiable appetite for tech. So she had heard of an opportunity back at the organization that she worked at. She was a publisher or head of the publishing department at the African Medical Research and Education Foundation, AMREF, which has done some amazing work in medical research, and continues to do some amazing work in medical research in Africa. And the computer, they were going through a computerization process at the time, and the new computer manager had this massive task in front of her of digitizing the accounting department, which had rooms full of files going back years, and all this data needed to be transferred into the new accounting system. So there was a huge data entry job that needed to be done, and they were looking for volunteers. So, yes.
Not even workers.
Not workers, volunteers. So she asked me, would you be willing to volunteer to help us to do data entry? And I said, yes. And I leapt onto that opportunity. So I started, and I was working for zero. And we walked into a room. I remember we were 4 of us. We started, 4 young people. We were each given a ceiling-high stack of files to enter, and we were each given a workstation to enter. And it was the task was expected to take 4 months.
That's a lot of content.
Right? It's a lot of data to be entered. I finished my stack in 1 month.
What?
Actually, less than a month. The computer manager couldn't believe it, because by that time I was typing 40 words per minute with 100% accuracy.
What?
My colleagues were looking for who, why, who, who, you know? So there's a big difference when you can touch type and when somebody doesn't know their way around a keyboard. Right? It affects the speed of entry.
It does.
So I was very fast. I cleared. They did the quality checks. They found that the data has been completed and entered properly. So she was impressed, and she said, hey, would you help us? We are developing training manuals for software because we are training all the staff. Can you type these training manuals for us? Here are she gave me like photocopies.
It's 1991, right?
Photocopies of manuals that they had gotten from somewhere else. And she said, we want to transcribe all of this. Those days, there were no scanners. There were computers, but there was no scanning technology hadn't been invented yet. Been developed. So, you know, I transcribed entire manuals for the equivalent of Microsoft Word, Excel, Access, which was back then the apps were, you know, Word Perfect.
Yes.
Was the word processor. There was Lotus 123, which was the spreadsheet. There was DBase 3+, which was the database software. And I wrote those manuals. Now, obviously, when you're writing something, you learn.
You learn.
Because you have to read it.
You have to read it.
And write it.
And write it,
And as I was learning, I would be like, oh, you mean this can do that? Then I'll go and I'll try it on the computer. So I became the guru.
That's what happened.
And then now they said, okay, can you now go and train the staff, support the training manager and train the staff. So I became an assistant trainer. All this time I'm volunteering. I'm not getting paid anything.
Serious?
Yeah. It's now 6 months later. I'm still volunteering. I'm not getting paid anything. They were giving me a small stipend, some small transport money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And you're still staying with your dad then,
I'm
right?
still staying. No, that time I'm staying with my mom.
Okay.
Mom and dad split up.
Ah.
Mom and dad had split up about 6 or 7 years earlier. I think they just had enough of each other. They had a very sort of agreeable divorce. So we were staying with mom. But so that's kind of like what happened. And eventually now through that, I was able to cut my teeth, so to speak.
Yeah.
Build quite a bit of knowledge. When you teach people, you actually learn more yourself.
And
right?
I would agree with you there.
Yeah.
One of the things that you have to do in life if you want to learn something quickly is just become a teacher.
Yeah, become a teacher. Because you actually have to get deep in and intimate with the content.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to answer questions. And sometimes you're asked questions that you have no answers for, but you have to be able to say, okay, wait, I'll come back to you with an answer. Don't lie. Go and do your research and then come back with the answer. But in the process, you have built your body of knowledge better. So that helped me a lot, and also developing just a personal interaction manner, customer service.
Yeah.
Because the interesting thing is, after now training people, we trained everybody. Now I became the support guy, because people would get stuck and they'd be like, Brian, you remember, I can't remember what you told me about ABCD. Can you come and help me? So all of a sudden I became the sort of unofficial IT support
within the office. Wow.
Before the name IT support even existed.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing. Then eventually there was an unfortunate turn of events. My mom's business crashed, collapsed. The house we were staying in, she couldn't afford to pay rent anymore. So we were kicked out. We were on the streets, literally. She went to stay with her sister in the village.
Whoa.
And I either had to move back with her to the village or figure out somewhere else I can stay in order to continue doing this voluntary job. So I went back to the computer manager and I told her, hey, things are bad. Is there any way you can pay me a little bit more so that I can find somewhere to stay? Because now I have nowhere to stay. I have no home. And she thought I was manipulating her. And well, either she thought I was manipulating her or there was genuinely no opportunity and she didn't have budget. But she said, no, I can't do it. So I told her, I have no choice, but I'll have to go and look for
something that will pay me.
Something that will pay me for me to stay in Nairobi, because I don't want to go to the village. And that's what made me get to the streets and start running up and down, knocking on doors again. But this time, I'm knocking on office doors, not knocking on doors to sell grapes. I'm knocking on office doors to sell myself. And asking, do you need anybody? Do you need any computer skills? Do you need somebody who knows how to use a computer? And remember, this is 91, 92.
Yeah.
Actually, this is 92 right now. So this is when
I was 2 years old.
Organizations, there you go. So organizations were just beginning to computerize. Yeah. Computers were still a new thing for most companies. So a majority of the doors I knocked on, they were like, computer, what is it? Then there were a few that were like, and I got a few odd jobs, can you help us design this, or can you help us do that, type this? Until eventually I knocked on the door of a multinational organization that was operating in Kenya, and the computer manager said, no, we don't have opportunities here, but I have a friend who has started a computer company and he needs help. Here is his office address, go and see him. And that's what marked me starting now a career in a proper IT business. And we were mistreated at that company so badly. I found some other guys, we were mistreated so badly, we set up our own company.
Is this FormNet?
No, this was corporate. It was called Memory Information Systems.
Okay.
Right? That was the name of that company.
Okay.
1992.
1992, okay, fine.
Yeah, then now that led to me and a few of the other guys that I was working with setting up our own company in 1993 called Corporate Computers. And that one is another story in and of itself. It was wildly successful. And that's when I realized how dangerous money is. We were perfect working together. The perfect team, 4 of us, co-founders. fitting together like a hand in a glove.
Yeah.
Synergies, cooperating, collaborating, all pulling weight together until money started coming. The moment we started making money as a business, everything fell apart. And that's when I learned my first lesson about the importance of having the correct match between founders.
Yeah.
And also how compromising money can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much pressure it can put on your values.
Yes.
And
specific values.
How distracting it can be. One guy wanted to go and buy a big car. Another one wanted to move into a bigger house. Another one wanted to, buy lots of whatever's, So we had a lot of fights and I decided to leave. So anyway, from there, it was a series of other jobs until eventually in 1996, I was freelancing and doing computer training. And one of the people that I was training at their house were having problems with their email connection. There was no internet. There was dial-up email.
Yes, those dial-up.
Store and forward email.
Yeah.
We used to call it store and forward.
Yeah.
And their email wasn't working. So they asked me, can you help us fix this? And I looked at it and I couldn't figure it out. So I said, which company gave you this service? And they told me, and I went to that company in the city and asked them to take me to the technical team so that I can understand how their system works. So that I can fix her problem. I didn't report the problem to them for them to come and fix it. I said, no, I have to fix it.
Yeah.
Yes. She has trusted me. So I will fix it, but I need to know how your system works. So in the process, I fixed it and they said, by the way, you sorted that by yourself. Wow. So you know how to do computers? Yes. Oh, we need installers. So I started working as an installer for an email service provider. And I was being paid a commission per install. And I eventually was doing so many installs that their boss came and said, hey, we're paying you too much. We're paying you more than our managers for your commission on installs.
Yeah.
So you should either decide to come and work for us or you just go completely. So I said, I would love to have a permanent job. So he said, what do you want? Do you want to be in technical or do you want to be in sales? Because you seem to be good at both.
Yeah.
And I said, I like technical. So that's how I became the deputy technical manager in a company called SimbaNET Africa.
That's what I have here.
Yes. And then eventually, that was around the time that for the first time it was possible for countries in Africa to use satellite-based international leased lines to connect to something called the internet. IP network.
Because that time, everything was happening within, right?
Everything was, it was dial-up, it was store and forward, and all of that kind of thing. So I was the one who just was working on the router, on the phone with guys in the UK configuring a Cisco to connect to the internet for the first time, sending that first ping.
Wow.
And it just blew my mind. The fact that I can be sitting here and able to interact with somebody and something in a completely remote area and access into a world that is full of so much content and so much, amazing stuff. And back then there wasn't that much.
There wasn't much.
There wasn't even Google. There were no search engines yet.
Yeah, it was just...
those ones came a bit later. There was bulletin boards, things called bulletin boards where people would go and just talk to each other.
Yeah.
There were things like FTP sites where you could go and download software and download books and upload books. That's really all that there was at the time. But it was so fascinating to me. I was like, oh my God, I must know more about this. So then I now started the same journey of discovery. Reading everything I could get my hands onto about this thing called the internet. And in the process, that sort of just kicked off this roller coaster of a career.
Wow.
I think I'll call it roller coaster because it has had its highs, it has had its lows, and it has had its twists, and it has had its turns.
Wow.
Until we're here today.
Amazing. Now, your story is wow, it's a story that is so amazing. And I'll tell you that having researched, and of course, because I've known you for some time, I've come to appreciate how valuable you are to the sector. And that sometimes people don't know, right? That you can come from the passion space for you to create something. I'm fascinated. At what point did you even have like a proper house now in Nairobi? Was this 1996 when you were with FormNet?
Yeah, so at the point that now I had a proper job paying a salary. In fact, when I got my first job, the memory information services job, I was being paid a salary, but it was very small. But I was able to rent a boys' quarters, a one-room corner of a corner boys' quarters in an estate in Nairobi, right? I was being paid 4,000 Kenya shillings, right? Which would probably equate to about, 40,000, maybe about 40,000 kwacha. I found a house for 1,500 of those 4,000 shillings. So I found a house where I was paying the equivalent of 15,000 kwacha
at the time.
Yeah. And I started living by myself. It was just a single room. I had a mattress and I had a charcoal stove. And I went to my mom's place in the village and I took one, they call it a sufuria in Swahili, one pot.
Sufuria is pot here as well.
Yes, one pot and one cup and one plate, and that was it, Wow. So here we are,
So you're like
the life.
You're like the people always talk about the influencers these days who say, I started my restaurant business with one rice. So I would say you started your freelancing career with one sufuria.
One sufuria.
Oh my God. No, but your story is so amazing. It shows resilience, pushing. If you were a different person who gave up, you could have been in other village. And we couldn't have been here.
Yeah, that's true.
That story could have ended there.
I'll probably still be in the village.
Yeah.
Looking after my cattle or looking after somebody else's cattle.
Yeah, okay. So you have like an amazing career all over, right? From technical manager for FormNet, chief technology officer for ISP Kenya. We're going to go there. Director of implementation for East Africa with the embodies entrepreneur network. Chief executive officer for InHand Limited. You were group chief technology officer for MobiCash. Event director for Demo Africa. You've been an independent consultant for Pure Innovations. You did some program coordinator for Internet Now for Oxfam in Uganda. Then that's when I think you came with SimbaNET in Malawi, because that's when I remember hearing about your name. SimbaNET as consultant, then general manager, then you started your own Converged.
Yes.
Ash.
Right. Yeah.
What a story.
Long journey.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's break it down now. The whole issue about co-founding the ISP Kenya is an interesting one, because that forms the foundation of what we have as internet, but also foundation as what we have as an ecosystem, essentially, where people now say, okay, fine, there's an establishment that we have to plug into, and so forth and so on. Break it down, because I think that's what led you to get the award, like a whole firm, the ICT whole firm. Talk to me about how that came about and how you established that to become like a proper now laid infrastructure in Kenya.
Yeah. So remember I mentioned to you about the MD, managing director of this company that I was doing installations for, that told me, either you come work for us full time or you go. And eventually I ended up becoming the deputy technical manager, and then eventually the technical manager, and then bringing in internet connectivity to that company. That was FormNet Africa. So he had a huge falling out with his fellow shareholders and founders, and sort of left the space, in a manner of speaking, for a couple of years, and then was able to come into some money, and he decided that he's going to jump right back into the internet space.
Okay.
So by this time, I'm working with a non-profit service provider, Christian organization called Mission Aviation Fellowship.
Okay.
That one, I don't know how I missed it out on my list of...
The thing is, your story is big, but what I see on LinkedIn is very... It's I need to have... That's why I'm saying you need a book.
There's more detail, You
were supposed to do a book?
By this time, I'm information service manager for this Christian organization called Mission Aviation Fellowship, which primarily provided air transport. They had small aircraft that they would fly missionaries around Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Rwanda. So there were a lot of missionaries working in the bush in those areas, and they would fly them to and from. And they would also fly supplies. So some of them were running hospitals. They would fly medical supplies to them. Some of them were running churches or schools or whatever. So over and above the air transport, they decided to start offering them email services. So I joined them to introduce the email as a service that's being given to these missionaries. So I did that for about 2 years. And then one evening I was newlywed. I got married when I was there. So I'm newlywed, and one evening I've knocked off work. I'm with my wife. We're driving in our small car to a supermarket to do some shopping. And as we're turning into the supermarket, there's a car that's coming out. So I'm on this side driving, turning in. There's a car coming out, and I look at the driver in the other car, and it's my former boss. And he, at the same time, looks at me, and both of our windows were open, and he's like, "You, Brian!" He starts shouting, "I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you. Come now." So I'm like, what's going on? Why is he shouting so much? He was always a very energetic, high energy guy. So I tell my wife, look, we just have to turn around and follow him and see what he has to say. So he actually literally got onto the main road and pulled off into a bus stop just a few meters down. So I turn around, I follow him, and I pull over into the same bus stop. I come out of the car, and he comes out shouting, "Where have you been? You're making my life so miserable. I've been looking all over Kenya for you, Brian. Oh my God, you're holding me up. How can you do this to me?" And I'm wondering, where is this coming
from? What is happening? I thought they did have like WhatsApp, right? So you can easily internet, so you can inbox.
Mobile phones were still for the exclusive.
Oh yeah,
yes,
using the landlines.
This is 1999, so it was still, So I asked him, "Dude, calm down, calm down." He's called Yaz. I told him, "Yaz, calm down." He was an Asian guy. And what's going on? Tell me what's going on. Slow down, calm down. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Brian, I'm so happy to see you. I have money. I want to start an ISP, and I need you to lead the technical setup and everything.
Yeah.
Can we meet tomorrow? We start." And I tell him, "Dude, I'm already working somewhere else. What's going on,
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I will not take no for an answer. Nobody else can do this. It has to be you. So wherever you're working, quit and come and work with me." And I was like, "Dude, wait a minute. First of all, let's set up a meeting where we can talk properly. Let me understand what exactly is going on, how you want to do this, and decide whether I'm going to get involved or not."
Yeah.
So eventually, long story short, one thing led to another, and we started together. There was him. There were two other Asian guys, one very good in sales, one very good in finance. And I was the fourth wheel that was bringing the technical expertise and knowledge on how to set the business up. He, the MD, was an MD, visionary, passionate. Burning.
Because as a CEO in a company, all you bring is the vision, passion.
Yes. Your name says, "No, we are not going down.
Not going down.
We are going to keep on fighting."
But the people are like,
I learned a lot from him. When people want to give up, people want to go home. He's like, "No, we're not going home until this thing works." Anyway, so we worked together very well.
Yeah.
And built ISP Kenya into what became the leading corporate internet service provider.
Wow.
And what I loved about the arrangement and the agreement we had was that I told them, "Guys, I do a lot of voluntary work. Volunteerism is in me. And I want to continue to spend some time volunteering to projects and activities that help others, help increase the reach of internet and things like that." And they agreed. They said, "Look, we have no issue as long as we make sure that everything is, working properly." So to a certain extent, I was putting about maybe 20 to 30% of my time into projects that were non-profit and, volunteerism. And that's what led to the birth of AfrISPA, the African ISP Association. because I had time. I was allowed by my employer at the time. I was one of the co-founders, one of the directors in a way. I had the extra time to be able to put into, sort of institution building and planning and, being... so, yeah, eventually we got to the point where, as a result of that, AfrISPA, AfNOG, the African Network Operators Group, I was able to align with a couple of other, go alongside a couple of other people that were going around training network engineers and passing on knowledge. And I served as a track leader, as a trainer with that for a few years. In the process, also now got involved in mobilizing ISPs around Africa. We set up the Kenya ISP Association. It's called TESPOC. In about 2000 actually, 2000. 2000. And we then began with advocacy, because at the time, the market was not fully liberalized. There was still a lot of protectionism. And the regulator in Kenya was still keeping things closed for ISPs. There were many things we were not allowed to do. Even something as simple as building a wireless connection from here to there. They were not allowing us to do that. So there was a lot of push. So we started with a lot of advocacy, and we also looked to set up the internet exchange point, which is what I ended up sort of building and setting up, going. And the work we did was noticed by development partners. So I was approached by DFID, the UK's Department for International Development, and a couple of other agencies, and asked, would you be willing to try and help other countries to do similar to what you guys have done here? And, we brainstormed a little bit about what that would look like. And we said, no, the only way to be able to determine whether this model of an industry association that is able to do advocacy can work for other countries is by actually bringing the actors themselves to a table and discussing and co-creating with them. So I told them, put aside some money. Let's organize the first African ISP forum. And we will pay for transport for ISPs from all over Africa to come to one place, and we will sit and we will talk and we will think about this and see whether something comes out of it. It's up to them to decide.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. The first African ISP forum took place in South Africa on the sidelines of a big IT event. There used to be a big IT event company called iTech. Sean Moroni was the guy behind it. And on the sidelines of that, we held the first ISP forum. DFID sponsored about more than 70 ISPs to travel from all over Africa, from North Africa, from West Africa, from South Africa, many countries, Eastern Africa. And we had them all in a room and said, guys, here are some examples of how industry associations are helping ISPs achieve major objectives in their countries. And we gave stories from Kenya. We gave stories from South Africa, because those were, at the time, the only two countries that had ISP associations in the continent. And we said, we would really, do you guys think that this is a good thing? And if it is, how can we multiply this? How can we get individual countries to establish industry association, ISPs in individual countries to establish? That's what led to the birth of AfrISPA. Let's set up an overall umbrella body, a continental ISP association that will mobilize resources to go and help ISPs to organize themselves, train them, help them go through the legal process of forming organizations, and then equip them with the tools and the knowledge for advocacy. And that's what AfrISPA started off doing. There was a secretariat. I was asked to be the general manager. The secretariat was operating out of Nairobi. And we got additional funding that came in, initially from DFID and then later from others, to support this work. Over a period of about 8 years, we were able to establish upwards of, I think, 23 ISP associations in 23 countries. We helped 23 countries in Africa to set up their associations. And we also helped 14 countries to set up internet exchange points.
Wow.
By the time now, 2009, I was deciding, hey, this is too much. Now I have to, exit the scene. I've gotten busy. Let others continue. Unfortunately, that also ended up leading to the demise of AfrISPA, because it seems nobody really stepped up to continue carrying the flag and moving things forward. But yeah, so
Wow.
advocacy was part and parcel of my life for a good almost 10 years of time. And I realized the power of advocacy and how important it is to have a voice and to be at the table where decisions are being made.
Yeah.
And not to work from a point of fear or inferiority. Yes. And that was one of the things that we would go around doing, and we'd tell ISPs, hey, you need to realize how important you are to this country. And you need to walk into meetings with that in your head.
And demand.
Don't go in as an underdog begging, saying, oh, Chonde, please, No. You need to realize that you have a role to play in national development. You're a key stakeholder and you have something to offer. And you go in with your chest and you put those bold recommendations and proposals on the table and you argue for them. But in order to argue, you have to prepare. So you have to be well researched. You have to be solid in your basis and your arguments. But you also have to be diplomatic.
Yeah.
It's not just about fighting. Advocacy is about hard and soft.
Yeah.
It's about, it's like a two wings for a bird. The hard part where you make demands.
Yeah.
There's the soft part where you negotiate.
You negotiate on the side.
Right? And you use diplomacy. And you sometimes even go as far as finding face-saving ways of arriving to a conclusion.
Yeah.
Right?
Amazing.
And especially dealing with our African governments, sometimes it's all about face. It's all about the optics. They're more concerned about their image than they are about actually helping the country. Yeah. So if you can give them something that makes them look good, that one is they don't care that it's going to help the people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know you have mastered the art of doing that. In Africa, if you want to bring something like even a development agenda, make sure that it aligns with some political ambitions. Yeah, and if it makes the president of the country or whoever is leading the country, the king or whoever, to look good, or of course beneath it, you're also supporting people. You get it. You get it. That's why there are weird deals that are made within the continent that you're like, okay, why is this happening? But because it has a positioning element. There are a couple of things that I need to talk to you about specifically on the advocacy. So I'm gonna dig deep on the advocacy, but before that, there's something that is very interesting about your story of how you were in this company and you didn't get the shares. And I think the company was sold and everyone went out rich except you. Which company was this? Was this FormNet?
That was ISP Kenya.
ISP Kenya.
Yeah, that was ISP Kenya.
Yeah, with the guys, with the Asian colleagues.
With the ours and my fellows. I think I would say that I learned, I think I made a statement at the beginning of this session that some lessons I learned the hard way. Yeah. Right. And that was one of the hard ways that I learned.
Okay, how much shares? I don't know whether it was. How much shares did they give you?
No, initially when we were starting, we had agreed to do like a 25%. We were 4 of us.
Yeah. So 25.
When you're starting, there's zero.
There's zero.
Right? So 25% of zero equals zero, right? But we were all bringing in, they were, bringing in time, effort. There was money that was also being put in. So, that was the basis on which we had started. And that's what I sort of turned down at the beginning.
At the beginning?
Yes. Out of my, I was about to make it sound nice and say my naivete, but it was actually stupidity.
Because you could have been a millionaire in USD, right? So the company was sold.
The company was acquired by a competitor. And it's the funniest thing is I'm the one who negotiated that deal on the golf course. I'm the one who conceptualized that deal, pushed it, got everybody on board, and eventually it was closed. of course, it took on a life of its own. We brought in consultants and they then charged with everything, investment advisors, transaction advisors, and whatever. And eventually it turned into an acquisition. It was supposed to be a merger initially. We had discussed a merger. I used to play golf every Friday with the CTO of the other company. I was the CTO of this company.
CTO was discussing.
So CTO was discussing Friday afternoon. We're on the golf course and we're saying, boss, and most of the time we started discussing our headaches, our problems. So that was our like safe space to cry on each other's shoulders. You know? But eventually we were kind of like saying, you know, it sounds like you're facing a lot of the similar challenges that I am facing. And, you know, you have a knock, I have a knock. You have a sales team, I have a sales team. You have technical field team, I have technical field team. You have international bandwidth suppliers, I have international bandwidth suppliers. If we brought these two companies together, don't you think we could make some savings? Don't you think we could get some synergies? Don't you think we would be able to have a greater purchasing power? Right? And that was the genesis, which ended up leading to discussion about a merger, which then metamorphosed into an acquisition, which then ended up having money changing hands and ended up having some people walking away empty.
I'm so sorry. This story is, man. Okay, but even the other co-founders couldn't have thought like, okay, fine, he has negotiated. Let's just give him something. Like a 5%.
Well,
or they just went to the paper.
Let's just say once the water has passed under the bridge, it is very hard to bring that water back. Because the river is flowing.
The river is still flowing.
So, you know, I will not point fingers or cast aspersions on anybody.
But as of now, whenever
my failure.
But whenever now there is an opportunity to get shares, you're getting it.
Well, let's just say that I learned my lesson.
You did. Wow. No, that's the story. The company that acquired, what's the name of the company?
So it was called Wananchi Online. It was an ISP. The acquisition ended up leading to the formation of the Wananchi group of companies. Because with that acquisition, they were able to mobilize. They looked for money for the acquisition. They raised so much money that they ended up deciding, let's not just buy one ISP. Let's actually buy more around the region. So they ended up buying an ISP in Tanzania, an ISP in Uganda, and that formed the Wananchi group. The ISP they bought in Tanzania was called SimbaNET. So SimbaNET was part of this Wananchi group of companies. And you know, they say what goes around comes around. Next thing you know, almost exactly 10 years later, because the acquisition happened in 2005.
In 2015,
SimbaNET hires me to come and set up
shop here.
SimbaNET Malawi. How crazy is that?
That's why it's quite interesting how the story is coming back,
how
right?
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
So, very interesting.
Wow. Okay.
Wow,
okay, fine. That's quite interesting. And you came here, you set up SimbaNET. I think you stayed for like 3 years in the role?
3 years, then I quit and started CTN.
Okay. Let's not go to CTN first. Let's talk about the advocacy. I wanted to drill a big. I wanted to drill into that space. In light of advocacy, you've been so vocal about AfriNIC. Right? Through your socials, you've been talking about the importance of sovereignty within the internet space within Africa and ensuring that the infrastructure is owned, but also these kind of processes are owned by Africans. That's what Africa also represent. We believe that Africa has the potential, has the capacity, has the right skills, but also the intent to maintain itself. Tell me about the whole history around AfriNIC and the advocacy around it that has been going around within the continent.
Yes, so I would say that AfriNIC really started as a vision. Okay, and this vision was actually driven by questions. Okay. And let's start off first of all by saying, what is AfriNIC? Because most people may not really understand what is AfriNIC. AfriNIC is the Regional Internet Registry for Africa. A regional internet registry is the organization that manages the numbers that drive the internet. IP addresses and autonomous system numbers. There is a finite amount of these numbers, and these have been apportioned to regions, mostly on a continental basis.
Okay.
Or at least that's what we found when we came into the space. We found that Europe had its own registry that was responsible for managing IP addresses for Europe. It's called RIPE, R-I-P-E. The Americas had their own, called ARIN, the American Registry Information Network, whatever, ARIN. And Asia Pacific had their own, AfriNIC.
Yeah.
Right? The Asian countries and Australia, New Zealand, the Pacific.
Yeah.
LACNIC, the Latin American countries had LACNIC, the Latin American and Caribbean Network Information Center. So, Africa as a continent was getting IP addresses from the others. Networks that were growing and building infrastructure in Africa. You can't build a network without IP addresses.
Yeah.
So you have to go and get them from somewhere, and then you build your network. We were going to RIPE, we were going to ARIN, we were going to AFRINIC to get our IP addresses. Now, some of us who were in the picture at the time building these networks asked the question, why? 54 countries. Africa is the biggest continent in the world. And, yes, we are late to the table, we're late to the party, but the cake is not finished.
Yeah.
So can we also have a piece? And can we also manage our own resources?
Yeah.
And, we started asking the question, okay, what does it take to run an RIR? Why can't we have our own RIR? And that then ended up leading to a whole series of advocacy. And, I'll not take any credit as being a mastermind or in the genesis of anything. I found others who had started asking those questions. Dr. Nick Weiner from Ghana and a bunch of others who had started having those conversations. And I joined them. And we then started this advocacy, which eventually led to us having a clear set of requirements that needed to be met in order to establish a registry. We went through the process of meeting those requirements. Among some of those requirements involved in ensuring that there is government support. Now, getting government support for the continent of 54 African countries means going and talking to 54 governments.
Yes.
It means finding them where they are and talking to them. So we had to go to African Union meetings. We had to go to COMESA meetings. And we're talking about internet in 2000, 2001.
Yeah. At a time when
governments, when they are going to these meetings to talk about fertilizer.
Yeah.
And here, there's a group that is here that has a presentation about internet, regional internet registry.
Yeah.
Most of the time we would start talking and people would start dozing, right? Because they
don't understand.
They don't understand. And when they don't understand, it's just too much. They don't see the value. Things have changed now, of course.
Things have changed.
So
everyone's talking digital
it was a heavy lift. But eventually we managed to get through. We were able to get the endorsements that met the threshold that was required by the international agencies that were responsible for these processes. And eventually in 2004, 2005, AfriNIC was established. So to a certain extent, my sort of attitude towards AfriNIC, it's kind of like that one where you had a dream of being a parent. Eventually, you got a child, and you are now responsible for bringing that child up. And you teach that child how to stay clean. You teach that child how to walk. You teach that child how to run. You see that child running, going to school by themselves, growing, making friends, becoming a part of society, independent of you, and you feel good about it.
Yeah.
Right? Until now, we are seeing that child being molested.
Yeah.
By some very vicious people. and we are trying to do our best to protect that child from destruction by those people who don't have her interests in mind. Yeah.
Why is it important for an association like that one? Why is it important for it to be sovereign in nature, to be within the continent and have people that have the goodwill of the continent at heart, essentially? Why is it important?
Well, I guess it comes back to fundamentals, right? The best people to understand African problems are Africans themselves. The best people to solve African problems are Africans themselves. Homegrown solutions work better than the solutions that are parachuted in, solutions that are flown in or solutions that are shipped in. And as an institution that is indigenous, homegrown, indigenous to the continent, that is homegrown, AfriNIC really has stood out over the years and has demonstrated that it has a major role to play, and it has really promoted the growth of the internet. If you look at the beginning, I think at the beginning AfriNIC had probably about 100, 200 members in terms of members now being networks that are getting IP address resources from it to roll out networks in their communities, right, in their countries. To date, AfriNIC has more than 2,000 resource members, more than 2,000 networks that are operating across the whole continent, building the internet, building this thing that we call the internet. Some of them are networks like CTN that are building internet telecommunications infrastructure, building internet broadband. Others are organizations like yourself that are developing content and have found a need to be able to build now maybe a content delivery network across the continent so that anybody who tries to access higher Africa anywhere in the continent, it'll boom. It'll appear on their phone, it'll appear on their screen in an instant. Right? Content delivery networks, broadcasters, financial institutions. Those are the members. Governments, because governments have now embraced digital. You have e-government services being delivered across the board in every country. And they need those IP addresses to do that. And where do you get them from? AfriNIC, right? So today, AfriNIC is almost this equivalent of an electricity company, but instead of providing electricity to drive the internet, it's providing the IP addresses that you can't run and build internet without. It's almost like a utility.
A utility, it's like serving the continent. Wow.
Yes.
No, it's a powerful one. There's a time you were presenting in this other session, and I was there. You're talking about this content delivery network. I think it's something like this, where you're talking about the importance of, I think it was importance of moving from something 0.4 to something 6.
Yeah, IP version 4.
Yeah, version 4, IP version 6.
Yes.
And you're talking about the importance of doing that kind of migration. And I think you spoke about how our content can hardly be seen in other regions.
Yes.
Because of the differences in that kind of technology infrastructure. And why we have to move, because we could do good content, but we can't sell globally because we can't flow easily like that. But also, you were talking about the whenever you're requesting something online, it comes through the closest possible server, right? And how that also has a benefit. I want you to come through on that part because it's quite important. I forgot it, so it's for my benefit.
No worries, not at all. Yeah. Think about a content delivery network. On the same lines as maybe a supermarket chain or a restaurant chain, right? If in a country like Malawi, you only have a single ShopRite, or let's use a Malawian brand, you have a single Chipiku, right, in Blantyre. Only one for the whole country. It means that somebody in Muzuzu who wants to shop at Chipiku, what will they have to do? They'll either have to travel
from there
all the way to Blantyre and do their shopping and go back to Mzuzu, or they'll have to send somebody. But ultimately, it will take longer and it will cost more for them.
Yeah.
And not just that, but they may not be able to take advantage of all of the offers that Chipiku has. A supermarket might sometimes say, these items have been on the shelves too long. Let us give a 40% discount to clear them. And they announce it overnight. And by morning, by midday, everybody has come and taken it up. By the time that news got to the guy in Mzuzu, he's still on the road coming.
Still on the road coming, yeah.
Yeah, so he misses out. So it's very similar to what happens with content delivery networks, right? Now, going back to the example of the supermarket, if Chipilku opens a branch in Mzuzu, it means that the Mzuzu people will immediately be able to enjoy the benefits of Chipilku without having to go too far. It's right there next to them. And they may actually even now start buying more from Chipiku than buying from others, right? Buying through their other ways that they were buying before.
Yeah.
So that's similar to what happens with content delivery networks, right?
Yeah.
So Africa, if you look at the content delivery network map of the world, Africa has indigenous content delivery networks. I would say exactly 0.
What?
Yes. The content delivery networks that are in Africa are foreign content delivery networks that have actually decided to set up presence for delivery of their content. So Netflix, for example, Netflix is not an African company.
Yeah.
Netflix has African content,
Yeah.
but that's not its prime.
Yeah.
Right? It's originated in the US. And they built a content delivery network to allow them to sell their key product, which is entertainment, movies, series. And essentially, they've been able to extend that content delivery network across the globe. Now, the reason why I say Africa doesn't have content delivery networks is we don't have any indigenous CDNs that have African content, right? You don't have a CDN sitting in Kenya or in Nigeria or South Africa, which are the more advanced digital economies, serving African content. There's nowhere that you, with your podcast, can go and contract with them so that you upload it once and it's instantly available in every single city in the continent. That's what a content delivery network does.
Yeah.
Right? So right now, to watch your Higher Africa podcast, it means that a user in Ghana has to look for it where it is. Yes, it's on the internet, but they'll still have to go across to the server that it's sitting on, wherever it is.
And most of it is it's in the US servers,
right? It's
so
mostly
you have to
hosted on US servers, so it's slower. If it's streaming, it can get affected by all of the intermediate networks between Ghana and the US. Whereas an African CDN would mean that if they click on Higher Africa, it is delivered from Accra. Right? It's delivered from Legon or from whichever area that CDN
which is
sitting,
closer.
which is right next door, and it's instant, right? It's immediate, it's fresh, it's fast, right? And fresh content, streaming content, nobody loves seeing a spinning wheel.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
buffering.
We always blame our internet.
Yeah. And the reason for that is because we are tapping into CDNs that are very far away. The YouTube videos, when they start buffering, you're talking to a YouTube CDN that is sitting thousands of kilometers away. If it was sitting right here, a few kilometers from you, it would serve content like that very fast.
I think this is a masterclass. Most people don't know, and I didn't know. I knew it through that session you delivered about the importance of CDN. But who's building? Who would invest in something like that?
I think it's really our innovators. I've actually been toying with the idea myself, but I'm old and I'm tired. Okay, I'm serious. Honestly, I had gotten to the point of starting to write up a concept, and I even talked to some friends to see if they would be interested in partnering some younger guys. And I then sort of caught myself and said, no, Brian, you're not going to start another startup.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe what you should do is just talk enough about this thing until somebody starts looking.
Fix it and then
picks
move
it up.
with
It's a
it.
massive opportunity. It's
It
a
is.
huge opportunity.
It is, because
How much African content is there? How many Nigerian movies are we watching here?
a bunch of them, right?
How many Ghanaian series are we watching here?
Lot.
Right?
South
How
Africa
many
content.
South African, Mzansi content are
Yeah.
we watching here? Music. Talk about music. Musicians, you can name them, and you go to those countries and you'll see they are listening to our music, right? And there's something, and I remember sharing this in one of the presentations that I pitched. I was preaching about this issue. There's something about Africans. Our sense of humor, our tastes are African.
Very true.
Right? And there are things about us that we have a lot in common. If you take a Nigerian movie that has witchcraft in it and you play it to an Italian audience, they'll be bored.
They'll be bored.
What is this nonsense?
But we understand it better.
But you bring it to an audience in Chikwawa. Oh man, they will love it.
They'll love
because
it.
They understand.
They understand.
They'll understand that the second wife is jealous of the first wife. So she goes to see a witch doctor so that her child can be able to do better in school than these other ones, and then they'll get attention from the father.
Yeah.
That kind of dynamic is a very African dynamic, right? But you put it into another culture and they're like, man, what's this? And that's now where it comes down to, Africans need to build these things for themselves. Yeah. An Italian is not going to be able to understand that and build the network for us.
They can't understand, and that's amazing. So if you're building something like that, what do you need?
You need the technology,
okay,
which is fairly easily available. Big servers, and the ability to have those servers hosted. You need what is called an origin server. First of all, origin servers are the ones that have the mother copy.
Yeah.
Then with the origin servers, you then now need to go into each locality and set up nodes that will serve. So you'll have an origin server. It could sit anywhere in the world, right? But you then now need to go to each locality that you want to serve. So, you probably start with the capital cities of every African country. Find a hosting company, tell them to give you some virtual machines and some servers, or just give you space where you can ship your own
product,
nodes. In fact, that's what most of the current CDNs do. They just have like either one server or 2 or 3 or 4 servers that they ship. They send them there. They say, give us space, host them, plug them to the network. And as soon as they're connected to the network, what do? They call home. The moment because they've been loaded with the software, right? So it needs some software engineering, software developers who can be able to configure the apps that do this. There are some apps that do this, Nginx, Apache, a bunch of other, apps that are configured to be able to implement all of this logic. So the nodes phone home, and home sends them everything. So as an origin server, the moment that the nodes calls home, the origin server has been told everything that's in this disk, push it to that side. And the moment it's pushed there, it's sitting there. Anybody who tries to request it,
to access it like that.
So there's some advanced networking that has to be used. Something called an Anycast network needs to be built, because when somebody goes online and types netflix.com, that netflix.com is served by the closest node.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to the mothership.
It doesn't, yeah.
Yeah. So Anycast means that all these nodes sitting all over the world are answering to the same name, and the one who responds is the one that's the closest to you.
Yeah.
If that one is down for whatever reason, then the one that's next is the one that will respond, even though the mothership might be sitting many kilometers away. So there's a bit of complexity around it.
Yeah.
It needs a team, network engineers, software developers, and also that's the technology side. It also needs content experts.
Yes.
People who understand content, people who understand content publishing, people who understand media to go and negotiate the content rights, copyright contracts with these people, negotiate with the producers, whether it's movie makers, whether it's musicians, and get them to be able to understand. My wife was making a comment the other day, actually just this morning. She was playing some music off of Spotify just before we left the house. And there's a channel that she likes listening to, which has a lot of African Christian music. And for the most part, the music is really good. But every once in a while, you'll hear somebody singing a song and you're like, oh my God, how did that person even get into a studio? You know, the song is so bad. You know, the voice is off key. You know, it's just not
one of those things,
right? And one of those songs came on and she was like, hey, Brian, how did this? Sometimes I ask myself, how did these people get onto Spotify? But no, anyway, thank God, at least Spotify is giving our artists a platform where they can be able to have their music heard, right? So Spotify has a CDN. Spotify is a perfect example, right? And they have a way that content producers can just upload their stuff. And immediately it's instantly available wherever any Spotify app is loaded. And
I want to agree with you with how powerful this is, specifically for the continent. If we're thinking about building apps, even like Africa, where you want to distribute content or you want to connect as many Africans as possible. I know every time I go to Europe, for instance, and I try to access the same Netflix, the way it moves quickly, right?
And it also gives you different
selections, and then it moves quickly,
very fast,
right? And you are like, but in my country, I have to wait for it to load, and then I hear every sound that it produces when it's opening up and stuff like that. Even if I have the fastest internet, even if I have like 200 Mbps or something,
the node is sitting in another country.
The node is, so they are giving you a load.
They've started now putting nodes around the continent, right? And actually, interestingly enough, we have been talking to Netflix, and they've said, yes, we will send a node to Malawi. We will send a node to Malawi, but we need to be able to see certain levels of traffic before we can send it. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so keen making sure I can get as many houses connected to the internet as I can. The more people we get connected, the more the traffic goes up. The more the traffic goes up. And eventually they'll say, okay, guys, your traffic is now good enough here. And they'll send the node. And you'll be able to have that same experience. Because we'll put it somewhere where all ISPs can benefit.
Can plug in like
internet
that.
Exchange point. Yes.
Wow. Amazing. I know we take a lot of time, but we haven't spoken even about Converged Technology Networks. Let's talk about it. What inspired this? And I think I was your first client, right? I was the earliest client of Converged.
Yeah, you were one of the early clients. That's very true. What inspired Converged? When I was at SimbaNET, running SimbaNET for the first 3 years that I was here in Malawi, SimbaNET's role in the marketplace and even the license was that SimbaNET is a carrier of carriers. What is a carrier of carriers? A carrier, in simple terms, is a wholesale internet provider to carry other networks or to provide services to other networks. So SimbaNET was bringing international connectivity and, to a certain extent, on its backbone, offering regional connectivity, offering connectivity between different parts of the country. Okay. And those are what the services that I was selling to the marketplace. And I was selling to the ISPs, I was selling to the telcos, and I, over those 3 years, built a great rapport and relationship with all of them. But as I was doing this, I noticed something. I noticed that especially the ISPs, they were primarily targeting higher income customers. And there was a huge section of society that was left untapped. And I kept on asking many of the ISPs, why are you not trying to connect some of these communities? Why are you not trying to put your network and connect Area 49? Why are you not putting your network and trying to connect Area 47? Why are you not putting your network and trying to connect Area 25? And a lot of these new emerging areas, Airwing and so on and so forth. And you'd see that they're pushing their services and their products mostly to the expatriates, Area 10, Area 43. So I saw a gap. And that's what really you would say the strategy that drives CTN came out. It said, let's get into the marketplace and target the middle class and the working class and not look at selling our services for a high price and a higher margin, but look at lower margin, but try and go for volume, right? Many customers. Now we've kind of been a little bit constrained because of the lack of capital, the lack of investment to be able to continue to expand, because you can't have numbers if you don't have coverage. And coverage means infrastructure, and infrastructure means investment. So we've been looking for money, trying to raise funds, but it's difficult. And the economy, the way the government is operating and handling the country plays a big role into the ability to raise that investment, because I'm out there competing for an international dollar alongside Kenya, alongside an ISP from Kenya, an ISP from Nigeria, an ISP from South Africa, even an ISP from Rwanda. And when the pitches sound equally good, what does the investor look at? They say, okay, let's look at the country. Let's look at the macroeconomics. And at the moment, Malawi is not shining as far or standing out. Well, Malawi is standing out, but for all the wrong reasons. Let me just put it there. I don't want to start getting into...
let's not get there.
But it's gotten harder and harder to raise capital because of the environment in which we're in and the risks that investment would face if it was to come here.
I think people need to understand this. It's a very important point that you can have a best idea of how you could do business, right? Like, okay, I have this app idea, this platform that I'm building. But when you're looking for investment, the VCs will also look into the microeconomy of the country.
Absolutely.
Because they play a part.
Political risk, regulatory risk, currency risk. Those are the kind of check boxes that they have to tick.
So people would be happy, or I don't know if people are happy to see our culture suffering, for instance, because that has a bearing. Because if someone is investing in you, they're investing based on that kind of understanding that the money is the economy is strong, it's stable, and they will be able to see money coming in. So you make revenue, and then there's revenue, and then profit can be realized later on. But at least there's a bit of stability that they can rely on.
Exactly.
In a country that doesn't have stability, you have problems. Just to convince someone to say, I'm in a market that is worth the investment.
And runaway inflation. Right now our inflation number is above 30%. So food inflation by itself has been at 35% for the last several years. But the primary inflation now is way high. Right? Now, what does inflation mean to an investor? Inflation means every year your investment is losing that equivalent value. So if it's 30%, it means every year the money that you invested is losing 30%. That means that within 3 years you've lost 100%. Of the value of the money that you invested. So unless your profit and your growth can exceed that inflation, which is an almost impossible task. You have to be at a scale and at a level of Airtel. That's why Airtel can be able to declare this kind of profits, because their numbers speak for themselves. PNM, National Bank, right? These are companies that have millions of customers, and they just make sure that they're getting enough profit from each customer so that the composite total is actually better than the other factors that are eroding. But for the SMEs, for the startups, for the young entrepreneurs, right? And let's push the international investors aside for a start. For you and me, when we start a business, it means that every year we are losing 30% of the value of what we have built just because of inflation. And inflation is a very important thing for governments to manage. That's what, if you go to the successful countries, you'll find that they spend 80% of their effort trying to keep their inflation at a level that is going downwards. And how do they do that? By stimulating the private sector. By stimulating enterprise, by providing as much support as they can to the private sector and to industry to employ and to continue to move the economy forward.
That's a very important point. We think and sometimes private sector think they can do without the public sector, because as far as I'm building something. But if you are relying on customers from this country, for instance, Malawi, it means you have to find a way, even if you're not relying on customers from this country. But as far as if your investments are here, if you have infrastructure and everything else here, you need to know that everything that is around is affecting. And it's a big problem to build something. And when people are asking, why is it that Malawians can't build like a unicorn? These are some of the reasons.
Yes,
Go in countries where unicorns are being built and see what is happening in that ecosystem, what kind of support they have, despite the funding and the rest of it. But just for you to have a product that you sell and you can make a killing without having hassles.
Yeah, that's right.
The problem with most African countries, in my view, is that there has to be that deliberate effort from people that are players within the space that are safeguarding the space to ensure that the private sector is also having its safeguards.
Yes.
Because if these safeguards are not there, what will happen is, well, at a later stage, we'll have companies that are just existing in the country, but they're not within the country.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid that if I just put something within this country, I'm going to lose everything.
Yeah. You know, let me throw it a slightly different way.
Yeah.
If you go to any African country today and you ask them, how would you like to have a Microsoft in your country?
Yeah.
They would say, wow, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
You ask them, how would you like to have a Facebook coming out of your country?
Yes.
They would be like, yes.
Yes, we need.
How would you like to have an NVIDIA? Yes. Because now they are seeing these are giants, global giants. Do you know that the CEO of Microsoft can walk into any country and meet with a president today, at a phone call?
With a phone call, I just want to meet.
He'll
cancel everything.
Microsoft. Yes, he'll cancel everything and say, yeah, Microsoft are here. Maybe they want to bring money.
Yes.
Maybe they want to bring investment.
Yeah.
Maybe they want to give us, Microsoft was an SME. Look at the history of each of these companies. They started out as SMEs or startups. They started out very small, but they got support. They got an environment that was able to nurture them and provide them with opportunity for that growth. And not just that, because they would have only been successes in their own countries if they did not also have the entire diplomatic force of their home country opening up opportunities for them. That's opening up opportunities for them internationally.
That's why
people, so their home country was using their embassies to open opportunities for their companies to sell in other countries.
I've argued on that point. So I have 2 points. I've argued on this point that if I'm a business here and I want to go in Tanzania, my embassy has to be with me. If I have a business here and I want to open something in, South Africa, Kenya, my embassy in Kenya has to work with me.
Exactly.
But how many times do embassies really support SMEs and say, okay, we can host you here. So if you want to do a launch in this country, we can host you here.
We're going to have a trade fair.
We're going to have a trade.
Malawian companies come. We're going to take you to these guys.
We're going to take you this. And the second point is, that's what you see what Donald Trump is doing. So if you see Donald Trump, he's going to go.
Trade, not aid.
And negotiate with all the countries. What he's doing is he's opening doors for his own people to say, you can go here.
We may not all agree with.
We may not agree with his approach,
but all the same, that's what he's putting.
But that's what he's doing, and that's what
make America great again.
Yep. And some other countries, they're doing that, only that they don't say it.
Yes.
They are also pushing their agenda. They are, and that's why you see that when resources come in Africa, what happens? You see that the same country, the same companies in the countries where these resources are coming from are the ones that are getting the much share in terms of
even a lot of so-called international aid that comes to our assistance. You'll find that there are a few strings attached, which require you to buy from this company or require a certain percentage that has to be only sourced from this country.
It is what it is. And but it's very important for governments in Africa to know that for you to have the next Microsoft coming from your country, the next Facebook, it means you have to handhold the startups. Yes.
That you have small girl today.
Whenever you're going for a meeting, for instance, right? You're going to, Tanzania, you're going to Uganda for a meeting. Get your startups. Get them. Be with them in the plane. Go there and tell them, okay, I have these boys. They just want to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
Like, how can they get into this market? What are the requirements? What should we do?
Exactly.
Because for me, I'm always interested about how big Africa can be. But I feel like this silo approach of how we want to have like a M-Pesa Konkonka in Kenya and doesn't even have like footprints in different countries is a bad approach of growth. Yeah. So you could be the biggest in your country, but you're nothing within the continent.
Yeah, exactly.
That's bad.
That's not good.
People should be saying an African country because you are within Africa, not just your own country.
Yeah. By now, Kenya should have taken M-Pesa, to be a big player in the US.
Yes. That's the argument
India,
I'm putting.
In Asia.
They were supposed to say, okay, right? M-Pesa, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
But you guys are doing well here and you're paying us taxes. Okay.
We're good.
Bye. And I wanted to say one of the challenges, really, as you painted that picture of our leaders, the government, seeing the entrepreneurs and promoting them.
Yeah.
It's also about the way that they see these entrepreneurs. If you ask most of these government leaders, what do you think about, the innovation space? Or what do you think about the entrepreneurs? They will talk as if they'll talk about them as if they're talking about children. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
it's like some ambitious kids somewhere.
Yeah,
young people,
we have a few whatever young people trying this, trying that, trying the other. We hope that they can succeed, right? You shouldn't have that. That means that they themselves lack vision. Right?
What they can
lack
become.
Vision. They should see what they can be, not what they are. That's what makes all the difference.
Yeah.
They should look at them and see Steve Jobs. They should look at them and see Bill Gates. They should look at them and see Elon Musk. They should look at them and see the Huang fellow of NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Because then they will talk to them differently. They will respect them. They will nurture them. They will love them. They will care for them. They will give them every single chance. Right? When they are being called and they are being told, hey, we are having an innovation event in New York. Can you come?
Yes.
They will say, can I bring 5 of my young entrepreneurs?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's very difficult that they'll be told no. They'll be told, okay, don't bring 5, bring 3.
Yes.
Then they will go through a process of saying, okay, let's find those 3 entrepreneurs. And they will go with them. That is going to help those guys to get a leg up. Even if they don't get any business, their minds will be opened.
Yes.
Their courage will grow because they are saying, oh, my president believes in me. Yes. Oh, my minister believes in me. I can't let him down. They will work even harder to build themselves into something great.
That's true.
It makes all the difference.
It does.
It's an ecosystem.
It does.
And mindset.
And mindset.
Our former vice president, God rest his soul. I'll never forget the mindset change, talk, and piece that he wrote.
No.
It's powerful.
It's a powerful one. And people should I think the easiest way to prove this for people that are operators in the space, if they think maybe just Malawi is being lazy, not ambitious enough, or maybe Africa is just being lazy, not be ambitious enough, they should go and check the successful countries when it comes to startup. Right now, go check what is happening with China.
Yeah.
The way they are in this AI race, the way they are supporting their countries, their companies.
Their companies.
To fight back
Yeah.
when it comes to AI development.
Yeah.
What they're doing,
Yeah.
how that their government is financing.
Look at DeepSeek, financing
They are
all
putting
these
a lot of money.
entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody was nobody last year. Today he's like, boom.
That's why there was a fight between NVIDIA and NVIDIA because Donald Trump was like, okay, fine, you can't sell to China. You see, it now gets global. Like a company, you'll be like, okay, we're split between countries. Not to split between one loan from one bank and another because you're trying just to pay people and whatever. No.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's the countries fighting over the company.
Yes.
Not the company fighting about anything.
Yeah. Anyway, you and I, we need to do a second leg.
Yeah.
A second leg rather of this discussion. Because I have a meeting in the next 15, which I have to prepare. Because I have a bunch of things here about policy, about challenges within the continent, about the startup ecosystem which we have started talking about, because there's a bunch of things that you have done with Demo Africa, right, which is a very interesting element. I wanted to hear more. There's an issue to do with infrastructure. I want to talk about cost. So we're talking about digital infrastructure right now, but there's also physical infrastructure. The intersection of these two and how it works within countries. And if we were to build a stronger internet within Africa? How do we marry digital public infrastructure and even the physical infrastructure?
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to go into those kind of discussions and then talk about now the ecosystem of building talent within Africa so that we start owning the spaces. And in building talent, I want to talk about the psychology of Africa. You have moved across different countries. I want to talk about why Africans are, not all of them, but maybe in the context of Malawi, why maybe Malawians or maybe some of these countries, we're meek in a way. We're not dominant in spaces. We are okay to be ruled upon. I wanted to go back to the whole history of how that has become a norm and we don't fight. While in other countries like Kenya, maybe a bit of Nigeria here, you find that people are so vocal, but in some countries they're not. You look at, I wanted to go in that because I know you have.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that today. So comment and let me know if you want Brian to come back so that we can do a second version of this, because I wanted to go there because I've told you, I think the first time I met you, that you are a legend, but people don't know. I think I'll have to play my part to expose your legendary status so that in that point, people have to understand. And when I see you building Converged today, I'm like, okay, this person at this point, he's at a level where he just have to sit down and just mentor people, right? Because you have so much in your head right now, right? But this is Africa. Anyway, let's just do a bit of a last part to close this one for today. Looking ahead, what is your boldest vision for Africa's internet in the next 10 years? Where do you see the breakthroughs happening? Be it in technology, governance, but also in the startup ecosystem. And that'll be my end.
My boldest vision, my dream and passion for Africa is to see a highly interconnected continent. I want to be able to wake up and drive on a beautiful, well-lit highway to Cameroon without having to worry about stress. Right? The same way you can drive from Berlin in Germany to Sicily in Italy. And you can actually just sit down and say, hey guys, let's go on a road trip. And you wake up and you go. Right now, you try.
So many regulations around the space.
Oh my God.
Even the road.
You might not even be able to get a road across.
Yeah, because the issue is about the road as well.
So the same for digital infrastructure. When I say highly interconnected, I'm not only talking about the physical roads, the airwaves.
Yes.
Today, fly from Malawi to Senegal. Go online and try and get a ticket.
You're going to move
on. Malawi to Senegal. First of all, see how long it will take you. Second, see how
maybe 2-3 days
it will be. Or let's not even do Senegal. Senegal might be easier. Do Morocco.
Hey! Yes.
Right? You may have to go through Europe.
Yeah, in most cases you have to go.
So these are the things that are holding us back. How can we become one marketplace if we don't have logistics between us?
Yes.
If we don't have transport between ourselves, and we're talking about digital transport, physical transport, railways, roads, seaways, right? That's the vision that I have for Africa.
Wow.
Better interconnection that now unlocks our true potential. And really provides the opportunity for us to become a common market. Otherwise, everybody is here talking about, one market. But practically, they are not opening their borders. It will just be talk.
Wow. Well, I'm amazed. Today's session was mine. I'm amazed by your insights in this space. So even if people say that you shouldn't come back, I will make sure that I email you again and request that we do another one. At least
we'll figure it out. We'll make a plan.
We have to make a plan. But thank you so much for coming through. I think Africa needs this kind of discussions, conversations. And plug me to people that think like this in Kenya, for instance, in other countries. Let's have these kind of conversations continent-wise. Let's challenge the status quo that we have.
Some amazing thinkers,
We need to challenge the status quo, because if we continue to think the way we are thinking, if we leave things the way they are, we are not going to make progress in the global space. In the global space, people are doing hand-holding. People are working within the region and promoting each other. Well, in this space, we are comfortable by a little something that we get within our own countries, or even within just a city within the country, or even maybe a village somewhere, or even just maybe a few households. You have clients and you're okay. But there's a bigger market within the continent.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Brian. Guys,
you're welcome. Thank you.
Till next time. Yeah, no, this is your home. We have to do another one by my public demand. Bye, guys. Until next time, this is Brian and McDonald. I'm so excited that you guys join us, and subscribe, comment. These are the conversations we need to have if we have to challenge Africa. And by the way, this platform, people have told me that people are using this for school.
Wow.
Yes, learning through this platform. Most people in the universities, but also people that are building, are learning from this platform. So don't be surprised when you find people inboxing you after this one, because I think we needed this kind of conversations just to make sure that we're driving towards the future.
Excellent.
Guys, until next time, we are out.
Ciao.